Great. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. CONNECTpreneur is a global community of over 25,000 investors, CEOs, entrepreneurs, business leaders, and professional service providers from around the world. And today marks our 41st virtual and 91st CONNECTpreneur event over the last 12 years. Over that period, we've had over 1,000 companies present. Our CONNECTpreneur investor network now totals over 4,000 accredited and qualified private investors, angels, and family offices who are interested in investing in awesome deals like you'll see today, and other deals that they can meet through our community and our events. We also are running the largest monthly virtual investor pitch events in the world, and we appreciate your guys being here today and being part of our community. Hopefully, you've already downloaded today's program book. Avery, who's our assistant community manager, can post the link to today's program book. It has all the information about our sponsors, our presenting companies, and their executive summaries as well. A couple of things about today's event. We have 11 presenting companies, and after our final presenter, we'll open up the breakout rooms for about half an hour to 40 minutes. Each one of our breakout rooms will be hosted by our presenting company. It's their room that they're hosting, especially for deep dive conversations with investors and other interested parties. And you will be able to enter and leave whichever breakout room you like. Purpose of the breakout room is for our presenting companies to go deeper with interested parties. So please remember that these breakout rooms are hosted by them, and conduct yourselves accordingly. After the breakout rooms, we'll then start our masterclass. The masterclass today is Growing Your Business with ChatGPT. Very exciting and hot topic. We have 4 amazing instructors who are really crushing it with respect to AI and ChatGPT, and I'm looking forward to learning quite a bit. I think it'll be pretty informative, and we're estimating that masterclass will start around 12:40 p.m. Eastern Time. Also, with respect to the group chat, yes, you can introduce yourself, put your LinkedIn profile, tell us a little bit about yourself, but please be respectful and tactful when using that group chat. And please do not overload the chat unless you're a presenter. So post no more than 2 times or so, please. People will be downloading the chat transcript later, so they'll be able to see your posts. As you know, there's quite a few dozen messages going on right now. And make sure you download your chat transcript before you go into the breakout rooms. That way you can read through them afterwards. Also, we're going to be polling our investors a few times this morning. This is for investors only. So after every 3 presenting companies, we're going to put up an investor poll, and that'll allow, and this is confidential, it's not a popularity contest. We're going to share that data only with our presenting companies, and they'll follow up with you later on. I also want to thank our awesome CONNECTpreneur ambassadors who've done a great job spreading the word about our events worldwide. And a special thank you to our awesome prep team. If you're interested in becoming a CONNECTpreneur ambassador, please do indicate such. Let Skylar or Avery know, or we actually have that in one of our sponsor polls, so you can indicate and we'll follow up with you. So again, we have 11 total presenters today. Each presentation will be about 4 minutes. No Q&A. If you have questions, you can ask those in the breakout room. And again, if you're an interested investor, please be sure to indicate that on the investor poll. They're confidential, only shared with the presenting company. The first 6 presenters will be introduced by Mark Haas, who's the CEO of AEG, the Association for Enterprise Growth. And the next 5 will be introduced by Sarah Clasper, who's an associate attorney at Next, powered by Shulman Rogers. Also, a couple notes, our CONNECTpreneur community has an awesome YouTube channel. We have over 500 videos of our alumni presenters. Please check it out and subscribe. And we also have a free Slack channel. We have over 4,200 business leaders on it. Feel free to join. You can network with other members offline, share information about yourselves, about your events, and just as a way for our community to stay together in between our events. We're going to post links to our Slack channel and our YouTube channel so you can sign up later. A couple of upcoming events. Our next virtual rocket pitch is going to be on June 27th. We'll post registration for that event in the chat box as well. We also have 2 upcoming in-person events here in the Washington, D.C. metro area, both evening events. On June 8th, we have a CONNECTpreneur Summerfest with pitches, and that will be next Thursday evening, June 8th in Tysons Corner, Virginia. And then on the evening of June 13th, we have Connect Tales, which is a cocktail party that we host, and that'll be in the evening of June 13th in Arlington, Virginia. We also want to note that one of our partners, the Wharton DC Summit, the annual Wharton DC Summit, is being hosted in Arlington, Virginia on June 22nd. And you can learn more at www.whartondcinnovation.com. They're probably on the call right now. And if you have any questions at all, you can direct message Avery or Skylar or myself, and we'll make sure you're connected with the people at Wharton. With respect to our events, if you're interested in sponsoring or presenting, please let us know as well. So why don't we go ahead and get started? I'd like to put up our first poll. Sky, if we could do that. And this is a poll for our awesome sponsors. So if you're interested, our sponsors are the ones who make our events possible. So if you're looking for any of their services, please respond if you have any interest. And again, this is confidential. We'll make sure that you are connected with our sponsors. I do want to read out our sponsors. Our sponsors are listed in our program book, but we have Next, powered by Sean Rogers, AEG, Entrepreneurs Organization, Truist Financial, Schulman Rogers, Refraction, Keiretsu Forum, Pitchforce, Baltimore Angels, Ryan and Wetmore, Startup Grind, the Maryland Tech Council, Northern Virginia Chamber of Commerce, ETS, Enterprise Transformation Solutions, Georgetown Entrepreneurship, Angels and Life Sciences Investors, and the New Jersey Angels, the Center for Advancing Innovation, FITCI, the Dingman Angels, Founder Institute, the annual Wharton DC Summit, National Association of Business Owners and Entrepreneurs, and the MIT Alumni Angels of DC. Let's give it up for them virtually. And thank you guys for participating in our sponsor poll. These guys make it possible for us. It's a free event. So thank you for utilizing their services. They're all fantastic. So why don't we go get started with the pitches? I'd like to kick things off. I want to introduce you to Mark Haas. Mark Haas will introduce our first 6 presenters. Mark is CEO and co-founder of AEG, which is the DC, Baltimore, and Tampa, Florida region's top alliance of elite service providers, and they run awesome groups of CEO peer groups. AEG is expanding into other regions around the U.S. Members include some of the leading business professionals in Washington, Northern Virginia, Baltimore, and Tampa. And I'm personally proud to be an investor in and chairman of AEG. Mark's currently in fundraise mode. I hope he can share his executive summary. So if you're interested, any investors interested, or people that want to join, please reach out to Mark. Mark, can you give us a few details about AEG? And I also want to thank you so much for your continued support of CONNECTpreneur.
Sure. Appreciate it. Thanks to be a longtime sponsor. I do want to trademark the AEG powered by Tian Wong phrase. That would be a good thing. As Tian said, we're really building an ecosystem of very exclusive city-based communities, both the mid-market CEOs and elite professional advisors who serve them. Now, if you think that business runs on speed and trust, as we move into a more uncertain economy, business can actually accelerate because of the deep trust that our members have among each other and across our communities. As Tian said, we've started our national expansion, and we're in capital raise just to fund that expansion. So if you're an investor or a lead advisor, I'll put the summary in the chat room, and reach out to me, and I'd love to hear from you. So as we start our first community here, so our first presenter, if solar and wind are accelerating the development of, they make about 80% of new electric generation. The problem is what happens when the wind doesn't blow and sun doesn't shine. So our first presenter is 24/7 solar, as the name implies, providing more continuous service. I'd like to welcome Bruce Anderson, CEO of 24/7 Solar.
Thank you, Mark, and thanks for describing the problem that we're addressing. It's an exciting time for 24/7 Solar because people are starting to realize that there's a real serious problem with the intermittency of PV and wind, solar. That when the sun goes down, what do you do? We know that solar doesn't operate all the time, but 24/7 Solar does. That's our name, 24/7 Solar. And we do this by not converting solar energy to electricity, but by converting it to heat. We store that heat. We convert it in this device here on the left, developed with our development partners, stored in thermos-like containers for long-term storage, and then convert that heat into electricity, and when electricity, also into heat. India's largest utility has this big problem. On the one hand, they've got lots of solar, but on the other hand, when the sun goes down, they turn to coal plants. And so they bought one of our systems. It's a standardized module where these sun tracking mirrors on the ground here reflect their light on the top of the tower. It's only 125 feet tall. And our proprietary device converts it to high temperature heat, hot air. And that hot air comes down the tower and heats up our thermal storage system. At the same time, powers our turbines on the ground to produce electricity 24 hours a day. Markets are huge. The industrial market alone, where we can produce both electricity and temperatures up to 1,800 degrees, 1,000 C, is huge, and we can address 80% of that because of our high temperatures. The 24/7 clean energy market is 75 billion and growing really fast, and the nature of our system is that we can address about 85% of that market. There's nothing else out there that does what we do. 24-hour-a-day clean electricity, industrial heat up to 1,000 degrees, both at the same time, applicable almost anywhere. We are astounded by the demand. In just our first year, we sold $8 million of our systems we're installing now, and we have $50 million pipeline. In fact, it's much, much larger than that. We talk to people about $50 million projects, and we have over 30 patents worldwide. We're led by MIT alums and former executives of Toshiba and Siemens with over 85 years of experience in the industry. Our revenue targets are ambitious, but these numbers are actually conservative given our pipeline. We'll make $6 million in our first year of being a commercial operation, $28 million next year, and we're targeting over at least $100 million in year 3, 2025. We get that through system sales, and then we have recurring, very profitable, ongoing revenues with after-sales operations, monitoring, parts, service, and that kind of thing. The investment opportunity is very exciting. Our company's already raised and invested $15 million. And now as we go to commercialization, we're raising $8 million, A2 preferred, and we've already raised $3.5 million of that. What we'll do with that capital is install our first 3 sales and book an additional $50 million in sales at least. So thank you for listening. See you in the breakout room.
Although we're going to have a lot more renewables in the future, the economy is still going to run on fossil fuels. And the challenge is that there's about 500,000 facilities that store fossil fuels, oil, that need to be inspected. And it's dirty, dangerous, slow work. So our next presenter, Applied Impact Robotics, has solved part of the problem of how to make that faster and cheaper. Welcome Fred Briggs, President and CEO of Applied Impact Robotics.
Hi, thanks, Mark. I appreciate the introduction, and I'm excited to tell you how we're making the oil and gas industry cleaner and safer. So the company's located in Sterling, Virginia, and we're currently in the early revenue stage. So the problem we're focused on is the inspection of crude oil holding tanks. So crude oil holding tanks are absolutely enormous. In fact, some of them are large enough you could actually fit 5 football fields inside of them. And because they're so large, these tanks are actually federally required to have the floor internally inspected for integrity every 10 years. And the problem is that crude oil has sludge and sediment accumulate, which has to be removed in order to do the inspection. So typically a couple feet worth of sludge accumulates on the floor. So imagine an area larger than 5 football fields with 2 feet worth of toxic sludge that has to be removed. And removing this material requires about 2,000 hours of dangerous confined space entry. It releases tons of VOCs into the atmosphere, and it costs around $4 million to complete a service like this. So we have a great solution that solves all of these customer issues. So we can actually inject a robot into the side of the tank and operate the robot directly in the sludge and sediment to deliver an inspection. So this this eliminates all of the dangerous confined space entry. It eliminates all of the environmental concerns, as well as dramatically reduces the customer costs. So really, what makes our solution so special? So the trick here is operating in the thick sludge and the thick sludge, which is incredibly difficult. And we have developed a patented technology which makes propulsion in the sludge possible. So I'm really excited to tell you that we are the very first company to ever demonstrate this ability. So in terms of market, this is absolutely huge. It's an $18 billion existing market. There's about 45,000 tanks globally that are suitable for robotic inspection. And these tanks are typically inspected every 10 years. So about 4,500 are then inspected annually with a cost of about $4 million per inspection. In terms of competition, we do have competition. However, 100% of the competition requires the tank to be taken offline and send in manned crews in order to do inspection. This manual process requires dangerous confined space entry, has environmental concerns, and it's incredibly expensive. And our solution is the only one that eliminates confined space entry and reduces the carbon footprint. So we have amazing partners like BP and Chevron who have publicly announced partnerships with us, and these are the companies we actually work most closely with right now. Because of the value proposition for what we're doing is so high, we've actually successfully engaged nearly all of the oil and gas majors. We have 6 customers who've signed up for pilot programs, which we expect to happen in Q3 of this year. And we're currently taking revenue from customers to do validation testing as we work towards the pilot programs later this year. We have a phenomenal team that's really equipped to scale. So we have a combined team. The team has a combined over 57 years in the energy industry, with $1.6 billion in acquisitions and over $1 billion worth of exits. So we intend to deliver this as a robot as a service to customers, where we deliver service directly to companies like Chevron and BP. It's going to cost us about $200,000 to deliver a service, and revenue per inspection is expected to be $2 million per service, giving us a $1.8 million gross profit per inspection. Our target is to do about 50 inspections annually by 2027, which represents a 100 million ARR. And really what's driving this rapid growth is the customer savings about $7 million per inspection. So to date, we've raised 1.7 million, and we have a new round of 1.7 million. We have 1.4 million committed, including our lead, which is Chrysalix Venture Capital. We currently have 300,000 open in this round, and this funding is meant to take us through our pilot programs and into our first commercialized purchase order in early 2024. And I want to say thanks for your time and look forward to discussing this further in the breakout room.
Thanks, Fred. So let's switch from energy to healthcare. About 15 years ago, it cost about $10 million to sequence a human DNA, and now it's about $500. So with all that data, we've got ourselves in a data-rich information poor. It's finding a needle in a haystack. Our next presenter, Cornerstone Genomics, has figured out a way to make some sense out of all that data. I'd like to welcome Jill Pecan-Slattery, the founder and CEO of Cornerstone Genomics.
Hello, thank you. I'm a research scientist turned entrepreneur, and I'm here today to talk to you about our DNA, which is packaged into genes and encodes our biology and influences our health. And every gene has a story to tell, but some are still mysteries. The Human Genome Project, now over 20 years old, was meant to solve these mysteries for each of the 19,000 genes we all share. It's been wildly successful, generating millions and millions of differences that make us all unique, and has described how these differences have accumulated over the last 200,000 years of time. The paradox is that all of this information is actually preventing cures for disease. There is so much data generated daily that researchers are unable to determine those very rare handful of changes in a gene that cause disease apart from those that are normal for the gene. Our solution is CodeXome, where we look beyond humans to our extended family of non-human primates. We still share those same 19,000 genes, but now we have 80 million years of time to expand each gene's story. With this value-added information from all of our exotic relatives, researchers can begin to understand what makes us human. The exclusive content of CODEXome is prepared in such a way so that researchers can easily filter normal from disease-causing changes, including those in their patients. This unprecedented accuracy overcomes the status quo, and what took months or years can be done in minutes. Our initial market is genome diagnostic services that is expanding globally and is expected to double in size by 2027 to $3 billion. It is under the larger umbrella of genome diagnostics, which is also expected to double in size to $50 billion by 2027. Our competitive edge starts with developing a one-of-a-kind cloud platform that we made from scratch. It continues with our own exclusive collection of samples, which is blocking competitor access, and all put together using our own unique knowledge that bridges a long-standing divide between human biomedicine and wildlife biodiversity. By pulling this information together, CODEXome is uniquely positioned relative to our competitors' products that are still trying to find clues buried in human data only. We've been busy bringing CODEXome to market. Our proof of concept studies have paved the way, enabling fruitful discussions with potential partners as well as stakeholders, and is forming the context for our marketing campaign, anticipating our product launch in late 2023. Our team is a blend of scientists and technology experts with 50 years combined experience that we're all using to put together the unique features of our product. Our vision is ambitious. We would like to get our solutions into the hands of researchers as soon as possible because finding answers to disease can't wait. Our revenue model is tiered subscriptions, custom solutions, training and customer support, and our customers will be genome researchers in labs within academia, government, and enterprise, including pharma. In the past, so far, we have raised 1.8, and we are now asking this raise for $2 million. The money will be used to give us the best version of CODEXome, launched with the highest impact. I thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing you in the breakout room.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jill. Great job. Let's put up our first investor poll. This is for investors only, and we'll keep this up for a minute or so. So those of you who are interested in learning more about 24/7 Solar, Bruce Anderson's company, or Applied Impact Robotics, Fred Briggs, or Jill's company, Cornerstone Genomics, please indicate such. This is confidential poll. We're not going to share it with anybody. So while you guys are filling out the poll, I wanted to just remind everybody that we have every 3 presenters, we have polls. We have 11 total presenters, so we have 8 more to go. And then after that, we'll go into breakout rooms for half an hour. Each of our pitches is about 4 minutes. So if you have additional questions for our presenting companies, then please reserve those questions for the breakout rooms. And then as a reminder, once we close the breakout rooms, we will do our masterclass on growing your business with ChatGPT and artificial intelligence. And that will be starting around 12:40, 12:45. So anyway, I still see poll results coming in. Thank you guys so much for your interest in these companies, by the way. They're doing some amazing things. So last call for any interested investors. And this is for investors only, please. And we will make sure that our presenting companies get your names and information, and they'll follow up with you. So, okay, Sky, why don't we end the poll, and I'll turn it back over to Mark. Mark will introduce our next 3 presenters. Mark.
Great. Thanks, Tian. So let's continue with healthcare and health data, but we're going to switch from the lab to the consumer. Lots of people have lots of data. It's in lots of places, but making sense of it for your own health is important. This is something Marie Kondo can't help, but My Life ID can. I'd like to introduce Jeffrey Cohen, CEO of My Life ID.
Good morning. Thank you, Mark. So My Life ID is dedicated to improving medical outcomes by unifying critical health data that is often scattered, abandoned, or disconnected by siloed health systems. So we've all been there. You go to a doctor, a hospital, or a health clinic, and before you can even be treated, you have to fill out the dreaded forms, right? All these forms, you have to remember everything. So those forms create a snapshot of your health at that moment in time. And every week, every month, every year, you go back, you have to fill out those forms and create more snapshots that the doctors have to figure out how to manage. Right? So each time you fill them out, do you remember the names of your doctors, the dates of the procedures, what they were, the names of your conditions, medications, and all the other relevant information? Most people do not fill these out consistently. So doesn't it bother you that this is what your doctors use in order to determine how they're going to treat you, what tests they're going to give you, etc.? Now, all of these snapshots basically create a single disconnected series of frames of your health over time. They don't connect the dots. They don't tell the story of your health, and they don't help the doctor figure out what your health future is like based on your health past. In fact, the average person, as in you, have over 132 health records spread between your doctors, your specialists, your hospitals, your clinics, your emergency rooms, your labs, and your pharmacies. But there is a solution, MyLifeID. MyLifeID consolidates all these records from all these health systems and organizes it to tell the story that is your health. In 3 easy steps, the MyLifeID exclusive API ingestion engine and artificial intelligence will take all this information and merge all of these records from all of your health systems, even if they're in multiple languages, and create a single comprehensive patient profile that will then tell the complete story of your health. So once you have this comprehensive patient profile, you can share it with anyone, anywhere, and in any language at any time. You're in control. Additionally, you'll be able to use this information for other MyLifeID products and services. If you fill out health information questionnaires, manage, share, or transfer your medical records for you or anyone in your family, you are part of our target. It's our target market. Anyone with a health record is part of our target market. Our competitive advantage consists of the fact that we are adept in global expansion and that we do not need to re-architect and we do not need to spend time doing a lot of extensive revisioning. Right? So, to date, we've generated $80,000 in revenue. We have 5 contracts, of which 2 are international, and we expect to add another $100,000 in revenue by the end of 2023. Our leadership team is consisting of founders and advisors who are uniquely skilled to help MyLifeID successfully execute our plan and scale quickly. Between the 9 of us, we have 10 exits. We've raised $150 million, and we've done nearly $1 billion in acquisitions. Our sales and revenue model is B2B and B2B2C. Okay? We work with such partners as the Global Business Travel Association, with VARs and bundlers like employee benefit programs, and with retailers like pharmacies. And we use both a reseller and a subscription model depending upon whom we're working with. MyLifeID is currently seeking $1 million in a convertible note in order to leverage our existing contracts, expand our sales and marketing efforts, continue to expand our leading technology, and to support operations. Thank you. And if you have questions, I'll see you in the breakout room.
Great. Thanks, Jeffrey. So continuing on with healthcare, we sort of move from data to the problem of chronic inflammatory diseases, which are responsible for half the deaths in the world. So any prospect of a technology that could interrupt that process and either supplant or help the immune system would be terrific. Our next presenter is Network Immunology, and welcome George Hoffman, Chair and CEO.
Thank you very much, Mark. Much appreciated. We're a Vancouver-based immunotherapy company pioneering the future of pet allergy treatment. I'm excited to share with you all today our groundbreaking therapy. Just a really wild story behind it. This Nobel Prize winner and my dad worked together to understand how the immune system functions as a network with memory, hence the name Network Immunology. It took my dad 40 years, but he figured out how to downregulate an overreactive immune system in a safe and gradual way. And that's important because it's a global problem. Dogs are a part of our families, and they're severely affected by chronic allergies. It's a nightmare for dogs, it's emotional and costly for owners, typically upwards of $1,000 per year for the life of the dog. Now we have a solution to this massive problem. We have a therapy that calms down and rebalances an overreactive immune system long term. And we're developing it into a globally scalable product. We've called it Abstimex. Abstimex is a solution to the root cause of allergies. It's a groundbreaking formulation of injectable antibodies given over 8 weeks that rebalance and reset the system as a whole. Abstimex effectively treats allergies in dogs. It's better than what's out there currently because no diagnosis of the allergen is needed. That's because it's broadly applicable across the whole spectrum of allergies. And we've seen it gives long-lasting benefits. $34 billion were spent last year in veterinary visits. About 25 to 50% of those visits were for dog allergies. So the total addressable market is in the billions, just in the US alone. Now, based on what we've seen so far, we can outperform the competition in terms of safety as well as efficacy and ease of use. Pharma, with a $2.9 billion market cap, said our technology has the potential to be revolutionary. They said, George, we want to sell your product. We have 1 patent for allergy and 1 patent pending for autoimmunity. Patent pending for allergy, patent pending for autoimmunity. Our team has 150 years of combined relevant experience. They've commercialized 22 pharma and biopharma products, generating 5 to 10 billion annually. There are 25 million dogs suffering with allergies in the US and Europe. Once commercialized, we can treat at least 1% of those per year. That's 250,000 treatments per year, at least. And at $1,000 per treatment, that's at least 250 million in revenue per year. That would be 2.5 billion over 10 years. We've been steadily growing and our progressively increasing valuation reflects that. We now have strong proof of concept in dogs with allergies. We only require 1 million total to get us to the commercialization phase. We're on track to a buyout of this canine allergy asset by 2025. Now, how about the size of some of these animal health M&A transactions? For example, Antelique was bought by Merck for $2.4 billion. We've raised 1.4 million. Current round is 650K. 474K has been subscribed. We're looking to close on the remaining 176K. And we do have a lead investor. Our next round is just 1 million to get us to the commercialization stage. Thanks so much. I'll see you in the breakout room.
So we've attacked all these health issues at the lab level, the personal records level, and the inflammatory response level. What we seem to be missing is the incidence of getting sick in the first place through food safety. Since food safety takes a long time between the time we learn of something to the time when we got some intervention, anything that will accelerate that response lag will be incredibly valuable. Our next presenter is Pathotrack, and CEO and founder Javier Atencia is going to tell us how he's going to do that.
Hello, thank you very much. So you all know about this problem. There's been several outbreaks of E. coli and Salmonella in different foods like ground beef, also sprouts and romaine lettuce. And a lot of people got sick, a lot of people have died. And besides the public health problem, this is also a huge problem for the food industry. If you remember Chipotle in 2015, they had 2 outbreaks in 6 months. that cost the company $8 billion in valuation. And that's one outbreak of the 1,000 outbreaks happening in the United States alone every year. So the problem is that many companies cannot afford testing because the food safety tests take too long. To put an example, imagine that you're a farmer in Salinas, California. You have an acre of romaine lettuce and you want to sell to Chipotle. So when you harvest, before you ship, you have to send a sample to a food safety lab. The food safety lab will test it to know if there's presence of Salmonella or E. coli. And if there's none, then you can ship. The problem is that you have only 5 days to deliver the product. Otherwise, it will be rejected. It's low shelf life. And not only that, the food safety tests, they take about 24 hours. And then you have to send, it takes 2 to 3 days to ship everything to the East Coast. So you have to hold the whole product, which is a lot of money in warehousing and refrigeration. And so many companies don't even test. But PathoTrack is changing the equation because we have a technology that allows food safety labs to do the same test exactly in 6 hours. That saves money to the food producers, and also it makes the food fresher. And so right now, if you're a food safety lab, you receive a sample and you have to incubate it to increase the amount of bacteria that you have there so that you increase the concentration, and then you can use PCR to detect them. At PathoTrack, we've developed a technology that concentrates the pathogens using microfiltration. We have 4 patents, and we are the only company in the history of food safety that has got AOAC accreditation, equivalent to the FDA for medical devices. So the market is huge. Our target market is the detection of Salmonella and E. coli in leafy greens and meats, and it's about $1.7 billion. So we have partnerships with the major PCR vendors like 3M. We started sales recently with Eurofins, one of the largest labs in the world for food safety. And we are in talks with fresh produce manufacturers, with Tyson Foods to detect Salmonella in chicken, Cargill, and JBS. We have the right team to bring the company to the next level. We have a lot of exits, a lot of money raised before, and this is what we are selling. We have recurrent revenue by the sale of these pouches. It's a bag that has got a microfiltration unit that concentrates the pathogen so that you can use PCR to detect them. We sell directly to food safety labs. And to put this into context, one single client like the meat packer JBS, they perform 2 million tests per year, which for us, since it's 1 pouch per test, is a potential revenue with just that single client of $40 million. So by the end of this year, we are going to be cash flow positive. And next year, we expect to have $6 million in revenue. So right now, we are raising $1 million. It's a bridge round ahead of the venture round that will happen next year. We've raised already $4 million. And I would like to invite you to help us make this happen and make the food that we eat every day safer. I'm looking forward to see you in the breakout room. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Javier. Great job. Let's put up our second investor poll. Guys, this is for investors only, and it's for our last 3 presenters. We have My Life ID with Jeff Cohen, and we have Network Immunology, George Hoffman, and then PathoTrack, Javier Atencia. Javier, please say hi to Glenn Hellman and Doug Humphrey, good friends of mine. It's good to see them on your team, and congrats on your traction and those logos. It's amazing. While the polls are up, we'll keep the polls up for like another minute or so. This is confidential. It's only for our presenting companies. So we're not going to share any of the information, but please absolutely indicate as such. If you have questions for our presenters, we have breakout rooms. We have another 5 more presenters, and then we'll go into breakout rooms, and then you'll have a chance to talk directly with company management and the CEOs directly. Also want to remind you, after the breakout rooms, which will be around 12:40, 12:45 Eastern time, we will start our masterclass, which will be the topic of growing your business with ChatGPT. Super hot topic. And we have a slate of 4 really great instructors who are hitting it out of the park right now with AI. So very excited about that. So please stay tuned. I think we can end the poll now, and I'd like to introduce Sarah Clasper. Sarah will introduce our next 5 presenting companies. Sarah is an associate attorney with Next, powered by Shulman Rogers. Next is disrupting the way startup law is being performed. They have packaged offerings of legal services on a fixed price basis. Next was recently selected by Law.com and Legal Week as the Startup Emerging Growth Company Law Firm of the Year, beat out several huge and well-known firms. They were also a finalist this year in the Legal Times Award as the most innovative law firm in the country. And they've just been doing fantastic stuff. But Sarah, welcome, and thank you for your longstanding support of CONNECTpreneur.
Thank you, Tien, and thank you and Skylar and Avery and the CONNECTpreneur team for today's great event. We are very honored to be a longtime sponsor and supporter of CONNECTpreneur, a leading global event connecting entrepreneurs, investors, and other members of the startup ecosystem. As Tien mentioned, Next, powered by Shulman Rogers, is an innovative new model for legal services. We assist companies from their launch through every stage of their growth, and we've designed the legal experience to be from an entrepreneur's perspective. We create predictable and reasonable legal fees by packaging them into fixed prices. But even with the packages, we make sure that our clients work directly with our senior attorneys and our associates through our hands-on legal services model. We also integrate a lot of new, robust technology and platforms to create a client experience that is collaborative, efficient, and transparent. The first company I have the great honor of introducing today is OneForce. OneForce has created intelligent and efficient lead generation services with marketing AI that is next level, able to identify potential customers on the market, engage target audiences, and generate qualified leads at scale. Please welcome the CEO, Andy Zulanoff.
Thank you. OneForce, we're building intelligent software for knowledge work automation. We entered the hypergrowth phase. In the last 6 months, our revenue has grown 10 times. We're currently at 5 million ARR and became profitable in Q1. We're raising 2 million and 800K is remaining. 3 years back, when we were founding a company, we clearly recognized that we are entering in the era of knowledge work automation. AI matched human level of capabilities in natural language understanding, which allows us now to build machines that can read and understand text. We selected lead generation as a business process that needs this language-based automation. Why? Every business wants to grow, but they face challenges. Lead generation is a very complex, multi-step process. Salespeople waste a lot of time just even finding potential buyers. Especially mid-sized businesses struggle to adopt the latest sales automation. We're taking a very creative approach of going after the market. We're doing what Ford Model T did in the automotive industry. We're bringing a factory model. We're taking ownership for the whole process from identifying all potential buyers on the market to generating qualified leads. When we own this process, we're building an assembly line for delivering this process. We're setting up our own standard. Now we can continuously innovate on our own standard. Now we can continuously automate it. And we're building a software platform to do that. The software that we build integrates third-party components that are available in the market with our proprietary software, brings all the data together, and automates the process of finding buyers, collecting market signals, tracking engagement with content, up to the point when it converts into a contract and into revenue. We're building our own language AI technologies on the top of existing on the market to enable the more advanced level automation of market research and later on even communication, early on communication with customers. We're going after a huge $1 trillion market of knowledge work automation. With lead generation today, we're just scratching the surface on that market. The technology that we're building here is 80% relevant for recruitment, and we can sell it also as separate offerings like semantic search in a few years. We do want to be a multi-product company. We're selling into mid-market B2B businesses in software, technology, and professional services with revenue from 10 million to 100 million in revenue. We're talking directly to business owners. Their basically spending on us a portion of their new generated revenue. Pretty much classic marketing spend, but we give them 2 to 3 times the ROI. People stay with us because we're bringing them real results. Our largest customer decided to invest in us, and customers are referring us to other customers. We're entering a virality of us being on the market. The financial results show that customer appreciation. In Q1, we reached 1.3 million of revenue, and we generated 500K of net income. We should be closing this year with 7 million of revenue. We're a team of 70 people today. Our leadership team are successful serial entrepreneurs. Myself, I'm a business leader who managed 150 million revenue business and 3,000 people organization. I know what growth means and what scale means. I'm a serial entrepreneur with leadership role at 5 different startups with multiple successful exits. Most people on the management team worked with me in the past. We have amazing advisors from Silicon Valley. We plan to achieve 250 million of revenue by 2027, and we believe this is a conservative plan. It is a profitable business, and this revenue is funding our technology development and growth. We're raising 2 million of growth funding right now. Previously, as a founder, I invested 1.5 million into this business. In the seed funding round, we have 800K remaining using convertible note. Our lead investor is Carezzo, and due diligence report is available to potential investors. Most of this funding will go towards growth. I would like to invite you to join us on this journey, and thank you, and see you in the breakout rooms.
The next company I have the pleasure of introducing today is Quasi Robotics. Quasi Robotics integrates powerful robot-agnostic AI algorithms, robust R2 hardware, and user-friendly Cloud Connect to allow effortless control and decision traceability for the robotic fleet. Please welcome CEO Alana Shumova.
Thank you so much for that introduction. At Quasi, we're designing an AI platform to power the future of robots. And so most of today's robotic solutions are still only designed to perform one task in one unchanging environment. So for example, picking up boxes in a warehouse or mapping out a room for vacuuming like a Roomba does. And despite the recent advancements that we've had in AI and machine learning, we haven't been able to successfully train a more generalized robot that can do many different tasks. We wanted to fix that. And so we found that the limitations of today's machines are really caused by 2 main software problems. First being the lack of integration ability. In order for us to be able to add new abilities to a robot, we have to add them on top of existing AI and make sure that they work well with the existing AI. And without any sort of framework to do this, getting the functions that are meant for, let's say, navigating to work with functions that are meant for identifying objects can be really difficult. And second, when you have multiple machine learning models working together like that, keeping track of decisions that are made by that robot, and especially understanding why those decisions were made, it becomes even harder. Without that, you can't have traceability, and it's impossible to identify and fix miscalculations. So we wanted to create something different, and we developed our Quasi AI robotic platform, which can really be broken down into 3 parts. First, and most importantly, we have Quasi AI. This is the brain of our platform. It's made out of exclusive algorithms which let multiple functions work simultaneously on any robot. So for example, a robot can map the environment, avoid obstacles, and look for a specific object all at once. This also means that with a simple software update, we can enable any robot to accomplish any task that's physically possible for its hardware. Second, we have the R2 hardware, which is the body of the platform. It's fully customizable to suit our users' needs, and it navigates the environment on its own and has numerous sensors that allow Quasi AI to gather large sets of data. Combining those 2 is our Cloud Connect user interface. We wanted to give our users the ability to interact with R2 as easily as possible. So we created an interface that allows them to assign tasks and monitor and communicate with R2 without any coding required. Even more importantly, Cloud Connect records every single action that R2 takes, and it displays those metrics in a very visual way and maintains an ongoing audit log to eliminate any issues with traceability. The market that we've chosen to go into is huge. The field of robotics, specifically in artificial intelligence, is larger than ever. And as of 2022, it's valued at $9.2 billion with an astonishing 29% future growth estimate. We currently have 3 patents filed for our design and 3 additional ones in the works for our methods. We've created several key partnerships, namely Intel for our vision technology, and we're in discussion with Samsung Next for production of our hardware. And though we're in our pre-revenue stage with a working MVP, we have begun conversations with potential customers, including a therapy equipment manufacturer and a large life science provider, both of whom are considering deploying the AI component from Quasi on their own infrastructure. Our company was founded by a team of engineers and entrepreneurs in 2017. They have a combined 50 years of experience in robotics and AI, and they've worked together for more than 20 years with 2 prior successful exits. The first being a sample management software called Freezer Pro in 2017, and it was sold for $5.5 million. And the second being a laboratory management software company called Ruro Inc. that was sold for $15 million in 2020. There are competitors in this field, especially as it gains popularity, but we differentiate our platform on 3 key features. First of all, we own and design both our hardware and our software. So we keep our end production in-house. We don't outsource any components of the platform. Second, Quasi is our one and only product. So this platform is where we focus all of our resources, and further developing our AI software by remaining specialized allows us to channel everything that we can into our one offering. Third, the customization ability that we offer in our software and hardware is unparalleled against all of these competitors. Since our inception in 2017, we have raised $1.3 million through bootstrapping. And today we're asking for an investment of $5 million, which will be used to expand our research and development team, continue to expand our AI, and secure additional patents. We hope to find an innovative partner to share our vision of the future, and we'll see you in the breakout room along with our CEO of Levitive.
Thank you, Alana. And next we have Spiro Robotics. Spiro is making difficult tracheal intubation safer and easier with proprietary AI-guided handheld robots. Please meet Dmitry Sokolov.
Thank you. So yes, at Spiro, we're trying to solve the problem of difficult tracheal intubation. And to tell you a little bit more about tracheal intubation, there's 30 million tracheal intubations performed in the US annually for surgery and critical illness. And it involves taking a laryngoscope and displacing tissues in order to thread an endotracheal tube into the patient's trachea for oxygenation and ventilation. And now this is a race against the clock because the patient is anesthetized and not breathing on their own. So every second counts. And about 6 million of these are considered difficult every year in the US. And the standard of care for these patients, which is video laryngoscopy, on its own is inadequate. Its first pass success rate, which is a key measure of being successful in an intubation, ranges anywhere from 89% all the way down to 50% in certain patient population. And as you can imagine, the consequences of this are severe. Anything from vocal cord damage all the way to brain damage and death. And each difficult intubation currently costs in excess of $18,000, and that's actually not counting canceled surgeries and lawsuits. So this is a multi-billion-dollar economic cost. So we've invented a solution for this, and that's our handheld AI-guided intubation robot. And it makes intubation predictable, reproducible, and safe, regardless of the patient and regardless of the operator's skill level. We'll have a near 100% first pass success rate and an expected 90% reduction in complications associated with intubation. Next, I'd like to show you a quick video of the robotic motion of our device. So our device can robotically extend and articulate 360 degrees, and this allows it to get anywhere it needs to go to in the airway. Next is a short video of me intubating a difficult airway mannequin. So the device gets inserted just like you would a standard video laryngoscope. And then all you have to do with our device is you press a button, it activates the AI, the AI navigates the endoscope into the trachea and stops at the correct depth. And all the clinician has to do is advance the endotracheal tube over the endoscope and the patient's intubated. The market for this is huge. Out of the 30 million total intubations, the 6.3 million difficult intubations equate out to about $2.4 billion a year in market size. Out of the major companies in this field, nobody is anywhere close to offering what we're offering with our nearly 100% first pass success and our expected 90% reduction in complications. We will be the first company to use a robot for intubation and the first company to utilize AI in an intubation device. We expect to get FDA clearance in 2025. We have 7 patents already issued and many more pending. And we've had a number of exciting conversations with strategics and potential acquirers, and they've shown immense interest in our technology. Our team is world-class. We have over 7 exits and more than 100 years of combined industry experience. We plan to sell the device to hospitals. The base robot will be $15,000, and then the majority of our revenue will come from charging $350 per disposable. And by year 3 after launch, we expect to have more than $50 million a year in sales. We're raising a seed round, a preferred shared seed round right now. We've already closed on $4.5 million in funding, and we have $1 million remaining in the round. And that money will be used for continued product development, a clinical study, and other operating costs. Thank you very much, and I will see you all in the breakout room.
Great. Thank you so much, Dimitri. Let's put up our next investor poll, and this is for investors only. It's confidential. We're not going to share the results with anyone except for our last 3 presenters, and they were One Force with Andy Juvenev, Quasi Robotics with Elena Shumova, and Spiro Robotics with Dmitry Sokolov. Thank you guys so much. Very nice job. You guys are doing some work. While the polls keep coming in, I do want to say we have 2 more presenters remaining, after which we'll go into breakout rooms. Each of our 11 presenters will host their own breakout rooms, give you an opportunity to ask questions and go deeper, maybe set up some follow-on appointments with them. And after the breakout rooms, around 12:40, 12:45, we will start the masterclass on growing your business with ChatGPT. So last call for interested investors for our last 3 presenters. And I still see some results coming in. And again, these are confidential. We're just going to share them with the presenting companies so that you guys can follow up with more of a deep dive meeting. Okay, so Sky, why don't we take that poll down and turn it back over to Sarah, who will introduce our last 2 presenters. Sarah.
Yes, thank you, Tian, and thank you, Dimitri. Next, we have TagFi. TagFi is creating a centralized community marketplace platform for all things local. Please welcome CEO and founder Sheila Malhotra.
Thank you so much, and thanks everyone for joining. I'm Sheila Malhotra, the founder and CEO of TagFi. TagFi is the future of cities online. We're helping cities thrive by centralizing content, community, and commerce. So the problem, you guys all know this, cities are fragmented. People have a hard time accessing local content, events, opportunities, and businesses lack a way to engage with their local audience and their community. Cities in general, they don't have the technology to centralize all this content, community, and commerce. And so we're introducing urban local city platforms. These platforms are accessible on the World Wide Web as separate domains. So there'll be NewYork.com, New York local, Los Angeles local, Dallas local, and 100 other cities. The platforms are also accessible on the Urban Local iOS and Android app. These city platforms aggregate all things local. So our software includes modules like events, networking, communities, blogs, business listings, and subscriptions. We have integrations and partnerships with news, jobs, articles, real estate, restaurants, and local benefits. Our traction. We've got 143 customers and we're thriving. We're 5-star rated on the App Store. Here's what Randy Pierce has to say about us. He's the CEO of Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce. It's a way to engage with our members through technology that's going to be the wave of the future. I think we're breaking ground here. In terms of partnerships for local, I'm going to point you out to a few. We've got a whole bunch here, but Select, for example, is integrating with us, and we have them offering 1.6 million local benefits through a digital card through our platform that'll unlock restaurant benefits, VIP access to lounges, hotel benefits. We've got CMP Jobs, which is offering real-time local jobs. And then we've got all these other partners, including Brooklyn Cyclones and Dell and Chase offering cards. So let's look at the competitive slide. When you think next door, you probably think, when you think local, you think probably next door, which is geofencing your neighbors. And so that's a platform for social engagement, and it's valued at $4.3 billion. And their primary revenue source is ads and sponsors. Or perhaps you think Meetup, which is more groups and, way to engage with local events and groups, or Eventbrite, or Yelp for local businesses, or Timeout for local content. But there's really no local platform that aggregates all of this and unifies it in one area. But Tagfi does that. We aggregate content, community, and commerce and unlock multiple revenue streams. So there are city platforms out there. They're outdated. They integrate a whole bunch of different antiquated sites and stitch them together. And still, like, for example, Boston.com is generating $16 million, just one site. Syracuse, Philly, Long Island, we're right here in New York. And these are generating annual recurring revenue on, again, antiquated sites. But here's the main thing. If we modernize these ones and make them more interactive, we can generate many multiples more. And most cities, they just lack platforms altogether. They don't exist. So we've got a huge addressable market, $300 billion in just 10,000 cities globally. But if you look here at the sum, in just 71 top cities, 71 top US cities, we're looking at $2.27 billion. The economics of one city. Now, this is really interesting with very, very conservative numbers. We're looking at ad revenue, business listings, group listings, monetization, partnerships. We're looking at one city generating $1.3 million the first year, and then just a 50% annual growth rate, $32 million across one city alone. We're raising $2 million in this round. It's a $12 million post-money valuation, and it's a convertible note. We're already 30% subscribed in this round. We're going to do 10 cities at $320 million. You can imagine 71 cities. I don't want to get into that. Most of the funds in this round will be spent on marketing. So you're investing in growth, and then the rest will be in operations and product. We've got a great leadership team, and we've got fantastic investors. I'm going to point you to Omar Saeed, who's the founder of SiteBuilder.com. It exited big. You probably all remember SiteBuilder. He's also the CEO of Spurs, and now he's joined our team. We've got major investors, including Runway Venture Partners, Alpine Meridian, Thai Angels, and Cooley. And I hope that you'll join us in creating a brighter tomorrow that promotes local prosperity and good future for ourselves and for future generations. I'll see you guys in the breakout room. Thank you so much.
Next, our final and last company, we have Verity, a company helping simplify cybersecurity for executives and business leaders by using generative AI and large language models to improve business outcomes. Please welcome CEO Gabe Galvin.
Good day to everybody across the world. Thank you for the introduction. Again, my name is Gabe Galvin. I'm the founder of Verity. Verity is a company that we founded quite simply to make cybersecurity simple. The problem with cyber risk is that, as you know, everything is digital in the world. Therefore, we really have gotten to a point where it's an existential threat to both business and operations and innovation. In businesses, firms are challenged throughout for every aspect of the business lines, as well as the fact that in the industry, there really is no consistent quantitative cybersecurity metric available. And this taxes all the resources in terms of companies doing more emphasis on cybersecurity than they need to keep them away from their business focus. Our solution is simple. It's an AI-driven cybersecurity risk score and guidance. We do this by creating a large language model, generative AI engine, that we keep ever current with a body of information being fed into it, over 170 global sources of information, including laws, regulations, best practices, things that matter. We couple that with the fact that you take from the customer dynamic information through questionnaire, as well as information electronically of what's available in terms of their network, their configurations, what they're running. We basically do all that scan and bring it together to create a cyber risk score that's customized for that customer in their environment. And with that, we also create bespoke guidance immediately to help them improve their cyber risk score and their cyber hygiene. Our solution really focuses on taking a very complex cyber world and cybersecurity, try to make it with actionable, with solid business insights for companies. We do this by addressing first and third party cyber risk. We help companies with their own operations, whether it's supply chain or compliance and those sort of things. And we also put them in a position with third parties to really be able to exploit and take advantage of a digital world to be able to go to market with their products and their services. Our traction has been great. For the last 9 to 12 months, we've been on a circuit, and I've talked to at least 100 plus companies and C-level executives across the board. And some of them are represented on this slide. And we've actually have 2 firms that want to bring on alpha and beta versions of our product and run pilots with us. And one firm in particular that does risk assessments for a variety of risks wants to bring us into their platform and into their engine for their customer base. The go-to-revenue model, the go-to-market and revenue model is really a combination of 2 things. We're going to focus on a freemium SaaS tool to really address the first party and then have a premium upgrade for that. And in parallel, we're also going to do a service provider solution that really brings both of these fountains together to give us the maximum play for revenue pickup as possible in the industry. And what we're going to do first is focus on the financial industry and the financial market in the United States. And for that, we're estimating from a freemium SaaS approach of 1.5 ARR, and for a service provider approach with over 17,000 entities to tap into, we estimated over 8.5 million ARR in our initial target. What we're seeking is rather simple. We're looking for funding for a pre-seed round. We're looking for a target of $500,000, and we're going to end that at the end of June. We're going to focus these dollars on development of the MVP. You can see in the number 3 timeline on the bottom, we're going to focus on 4 months to finish and initialize the MVP, and in 6 months, close the beta testing elements. After that, we'll get into production. We have a world-class team. We've got folks from IBM, HP, the MITRE Corporation, a variety of folks from across the country, and a great set of advisors. And with this team, we've been able to reach C-level or individuals and organizations across industries, and have gotten a lot of interest for what we're doing, and we're very excited about our time forward. I look forward to seeing you at the breakout session. I've got more slides and more details to go deeper with you. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.
We'll put up our last investor poll now. It's for our last 2 presenters. We had TagFi with Sheila Malhotra and Verity with Gabe Galvan. This is for investors only. It's confidential. We will only share the results with Sheila and Gabe. While you guys are filling this out, I wanted to say we're going to go into breakout rooms in a couple minutes. We have one more poll after this poll. It's for our sponsors to support our sponsors. We'll have breakout rooms for about a half an hour, and then we will then start the masterclass, which is growing your business with ChatGPT 4. So thank you guys for joining today. I still see results coming in, so let's keep it open for maybe a few more seconds. Sky, please. Last call for investor interest. And note that the breakout rooms, each of our 11 presenters is going to be the host of their own breakout room, so you can ask questions and book follow-on appointments with them at that time. So why don't we take this poll down and put up our last poll, which will be for our sponsors. If you've already answered the sponsor poll, no need to answer this one. But we have great sponsors who are in the marketing business, legal, application development and digital transformation, accounting, insurance, wealth management, recruiting. If you want to be an ambassador for CONNECTpreneur, please indicate. We'll follow up with you. Or if you want to sponsor CONNECTpreneur, present at one of our future events. Speaking of which, we have our next virtual rocket pitch event on June 27th. Avery has been posting the links to all of our upcoming events. We have 2 in-person events here in the DC metro area. On June 8th, we have the CONNECTpreneur Summerfest and pitch event. That will be in Tysons Corner, Virginia in the evening. And then on June 13th, we have an evening event also in Arlington, Virginia. And that will be Connect Tales. And that's a cocktail party we have with no speakers, no pitches, just good old-fashioned fun. So last call for our sponsor polls. If you haven't already done this, we'll keep these confidential and we'll share the results, or we'll give you the information give your information to our sponsors. So with that, we can end the poll. And let's see, I guess we can open up our breakout rooms. And again, just remember that download your chat history before you go into the breakout rooms. We'll see you guys back here in about a half an hour. We're going to have the master class. Please be respectful and know that the breakout rooms are for our presenting companies only. And again, thank you for joining us, and we will see you shortly. If you have any issues at all, just let us know. But hopefully you found today to be pretty informative so far.